In this week's Women Who Inspire Us, it's all about the girl power.
We like a lot of girl power around here. We'll meet one woman who's using humor and insight to educate and also find out how she's inspiring a new generation of women to stand up for themselves.
We grew up thinking certain things about the world. We were taught lessons about women and girls. In our culture, feminist is a word that's hard for a lot of girls to say because they think it means that you can't have fun, that you can't like men, that you can't make your own life. They think it means you have to wear a fedora and smoke a cigar.
Dr. Regina Barreca is a feminist. She's also a renowned author, professor at the University of Connecticut, and known to have an opinion on just about everything. Gina to most people, this writer is giving feminism a new voice and using humor to tell her stories.
We've got pictures of me with Hillary Clinton. We have the one doll that had dark curly hair that I ever found in a toy store. A lot of the Barbies and the Snow Whites are based on the first book. They used to call me Snow White, but I drifted, so I particularly like the evil stepmother.
The 54-year-old started life in humble beginnings in Brooklyn, New York. Gina's mother passed away early, leaving her father, older brother, and her many aunts to raise her.
They were making food all the time, they were telling stories, and they were laughing. And I think that that's where I got an appreciation of the fact that these ladies were different with each other than they were around men. Around the men in my family who they adored, they would smile and nod. Smile like little bobblehead dolls.
Something was triggered when Gina began noticing the differences between women's relationship with each other and the relationships they had with men. She also soon found comedy was one of her strengths.
Girls grew up singing, "Will You Love Me Tomorrow?" Yes, I think I was funny as a kid because I think my mother was very sad and she felt very isolated. She moved into my father's family in Brooklyn, but again, she was French-Canadian. There was a language difference, and I think that my role particularly was to entertain her.
Throughout school, Gina was a dedicated student. Eventually, she took an impressive step towards the male-dominated college education system.
When I applied to go to college, my teachers in high school encouraged me. And one of them suggested that I apply to Dartmouth, which was still an all-male school, or they had just had their third class of women. And so I did, I applied and I got in. I was one of the first classes of women to get to Hanover, New Hampshire as a matriculated student. And I told my aunts, I said, Aunt Josephine, I got into college. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, Gina, you're gonna go to school in New Hampshire?" She said, "You're pregnant, right?" And I said, no, it's really good. I got a scholarship, I got work study. She said, "Happened to your cousin Elaine. You can always come home."
Now, book after book, and able to rub elbows with some of the world's most recognizable names, Gina's using her voice to get people thinking about the world around them and to start conversations.
I really love conversation. I have no hobbies, which is sort of sad. Like, I don't quilt, I don't knit, I don't play tennis, I drink coffee, I eat, and I talk to people. And sometimes all simultaneously. I mean, my best day is when I'm drinking coffee, eating, and talking to people. And if I could do that while shopping, it's like my birthday.
Gina thinks feminism has come a long way through the years, but still has a long way to go.
Still at UConn, where I've been teaching since 1987 at the University of Connecticut, will come up to my door at the beginning of the semester, and they speak the way girls speak, even the ones who are going to be like running NASA and the American Medical Association, because in our culture, it's still the case that girls are not supposed to sound authoritative, that means you're unfeminine.
But this self-proclaimed feminist challenges that belief, and anyone holding the stereotype that a feminist can't date or find love, Gina has proven them wrong, meeting her match, a fellow professor.
We've been married for 20 years, and the first book that got me onto Oprah was Perfect Husbands and Other Fairy Tales, which is actually a very men-friendly book, but I wrote it having just been divorced in my early 30s and trying to figure out what this was going to be like. And then by the end of the book, which came out 2 years later, it ends with my getting married to Michael.
Gina's most recent book, It's Not That I'm Bitter, is her latest success. But as accomplished as Gina is, she does find herself circling back to memories of her mother.
I've spent my life wondering if my mother would have been proud of me. She believed that women who had kids shouldn't go to work. She almost never wore trousers. She always wore dresses. She had great legs. So I always wonder, I like to think that she would.
Writing for her mother and inspiring new generations.
One of the reasons I get such a kick out of writing the books that I write and giving the lectures that I give is because it's a reminder for me. I don't come out of a world where women knew that they could have their own voice, that education was important, that they had autonomy or independence. They felt that the big decisions were made by other people. And I think it's very important for women and girls to understand that we may not control a whole lot that goes on in the world, but we can. This world is ours.
She's so cute. I like the fact that not only is she so spunky, but that she says she likes to talk. She doesn't have any hobbies. People forget that talking is a good thing.
And she's so funny, too.
Yeah,
She's really got a great message. And if you'd like to learn more about Gina, her speaking engagements, her blogs, her books, just
Everything.
about everything else, head to bettertv.com and click on the links tab.